It's Wednesday, my dudes. Hey everybody, it's Gabe from Light Designs. Hold on, I need to my subliminal messaging lizard people. There you go. That's so you don't forget to subscribe. Today we're going to be looking at a really crazy RDA. Check this guy out. This is the Max Vapor RDA. It's super odd. It comes with two separate deck sections and a cool top cap. You know what? Let's dive up close. I'll show you what comes in the box, and then we'll talk about it. Vapor production. Vapor production is crazy on this one. I'll just let you know that right then, right here and now.
All you have to do is think about them, and they'll grow.
Okay, so this is the Max Vapor RDA. I don't know much about this other than it has an absolutely insane warning on the back, and it also has like this crazy deck thing. But hold on, look at this warning. Look at this warning. Warning: please use caution when operating. Before use, please determine whether to master the use of RDA skills under the guidance of professionals. What? Max Vapor with a bunch of X's, and then it says some other stuff. Cool logo, by the way. I like that. Magnetic things on it. You know. And it kind of looks like an envelope right there. Nice. Look at how sweet that top cap is. So the cool thing about this RDA is it has multiple decks, and you can like trade out the decks or something. I'm not really sure how it works. I just know it comes with two different decks, and the top cap looks really cool. But we'll start over here at the baggie of stuff that comes with it. Looks like we get a bunch of replacement screws, some O-rings, and a squonk pin. Nope, just a replacement 510 pin, so maybe one of the decks has a squonk pin already installed. That's just a normal 510. All these cool little flat spots on the drip tip match the cool flat spots on the top cap. Wow, does that look sweet when you spin it? It's kind of like
a kaleidoscope looking thing.
I think this looks really cool, and it's the first time I've seen this aesthetic done to any top caps before. I don't believe this is 810 compatible. If it is in fact 810 compatible, I think you need an 810 drip tip that has a O-ring on it. I think if you grabbed one with an O-ring, it should fit in there fine. This one that comes with it does have an O-ring, and to what I can see, this is the only drip tip that comes with it. So moving down the line, we have our first deck, I think, which is really difficult to come out without lifting everything else up. All right. Whoa, okay. I wasn't expecting it to just be like a deck insert piece. Okay, here is a two-post deck insert piece. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. The post holes unfortunately look like they're on the smaller side of things. I would have liked to see a lot larger post holes. I feel like they definitely could have milled these out a lot more. That's so much wasted space right there. And here is your other deck that comes with it. So this comes with a postless deck and a two-post deck. Not exactly positive on how this works. I think the juice well screws out from these threads right here, and then you can swap between the decks. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. But on the bottom of the juice well, it has that cool Max logo and a serial number and a star, and the super protruding 510 pin. Both of them have like super long 510 pins. Back to the postless deck section. You kind of get a weird layout for how you're supposed to put your coils in here. I guess you build them like diagonal towards each other, so like this is your positive on either side right here, so you build positive negative, which is that's interesting. So your coils are gonna sit right here, and right here, at least in most cases. I'm sure you can get really creative with this deck, but at least that's what makes sense to me in the traditional way that this is supposed to be built. There isn't exactly a lot of juice well room or like build room in here, so I'm interested to see how this actually works, because it looks really tight in here. That's kind of weird, and I'm excited to see how this works, but I'm a little bit skeptical. I am going to try to figure out how to swap the juice well, see how that works. I'm gonna grab some pliers, I guess, and then just grab the deck section with some pliers. I don't really know. So I'm just gonna, gently grab this right here. Yep, okay, so it just unscrews. All right, so gently grab it with some pliers, and it looks like the deck section comes out. There's an O-ring on the bottom of the postless deck, and there isn't an O-ring on the bottom of this like 2-post velocity deck. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to transfer that over or not, but let's screw that down, and that is how that works. Wow, look at how much more of a juice well and build room you have with the 2-post deck section. That like completely changed this RDA. All right, so I'm gonna break this all down and clean both of these decks and throw a build in both of these decks, and then we are just going to experiment with swapping decks and building on this and see which one I like more and see how this vapes. So, vapor production is ridiculous. I have the Max Vapor RDA sitting on my version 1 Noisy Cricket. I have the cool gunmetal one, and this has a 0.4 series build. This series build we're actually going to be talking about on the Friday show. I tell you about my favorite series build, and then you go, oh wow, that's a really cool build, I'm gonna give that a try, and then you find out that series vaping is like the best form of vaping, and then you're like, and I'm getting ahead of myself. The Max Vapor RDA, pretty cool RDA in some departments. I'm gonna hit you with the pros first. I love the way the top cap looks. It looks so cool. The drip tip, I like that it matches the top cap. It's a little wide, and I can't find any drip tips in my personal collection that will fit it. All of my 810 drip tips with and without an O-ring won't fit in here, so I believe this is a proprietary drip tip, which is kind of a bummer because it's not the best drip tip in the world, but then again, it's not the worst. It's in the middle. It's a middle tip. I get a 10% royalty every time you guys use the term middle tip. Thank you very much. So aesthetically and vapor production wise, I really like it. It's got kind of a traditional wide open competition style top cap where you have one airflow adjustment, and that is wide open. And if you don't like it, too bad, because there's no other options. But the amount of tolerance that this has wide open is exactly how I like to vape. So I mean, that worked out pretty good. I'm pretty pumped on that. Overall build quality wise, I have no complaints. I have enjoyed vaping this thing. I've had no leaking issues. My top cap and drip tip aren't coming off if I awkwardly waggle it around for video purposes. They also don't fall off if you just take it in and out of your pocket like a normal person. But if you want to waggle it around like this, I mean, you have that option. You're seeing it right here. There's a lot I like about this, but it does have a few shortcomings. And mainly, it's in this postless deck. Not only does this deck have super shallow post holes. Normally, postless decks have really deep post holes, so you can stick the leads of your wire in there securely. This, you have to cut your leads of wire so short that your coils really aren't that secure in there, and they can very easily pop out. Also, the layout of where the positive and negatives are super weird, and you have to build these little tiny coils to have them fit in there. Additionally, there isn't much room for your cotton and barely any juice well capacity whatsoever. Not to mention, if you can cram a larger piece of wire into these insanely small post holes, your flathead screw is going to stick out so far that it's going to be rubbing on the almost non-existent juice well. Not to mention, switching between deck sections is just weird. I guess it's not even really decks, it's more like post options. I can't understand why they didn't send along two juice wells to have two separate deck sections that if you wanted to, for some reason, unscrew them, you could do that. Why not send along 2 juice wells? I don't get it. And my major gripe with that is because I originally intended to use this RDA with one post hole section set up for series and another one with a low ohm, like parallel or single 18650 mech mod build. And I was going to swap between them, you know, put an elaborate build in this guy and an elaborate series build in this guy, and just be able to have it easy to switch between parallel and series using the same RDA. You need to completely take your cotton out because there's nowhere to put your deck section, so you gotta like lay it on its side and your cotton's all over the table or wherever you put it. So you might as well just take your cotton out altogether. So don't bother changing your post hole options if you're not planning to re-wick. And not only just take out your cotton, you are also going to have to clean the 510 and the juice well, pretty much the whole RDA, if you want to swap between deck sections. So having like a quick and easy swap in the case of what I was planning of like having a around the house crazy series build, and then, oh my gosh, I gotta run out and film a TV show, let me swap my deck section real quick and screw it down with something that has a little bit better battery life than a series mech mod out in the world. It's just not gonna pan out like that. And I originally thought this was designed for ease of use between switching between different build variations, but this is more tailored to the person that only owns one RDA and they want a variety of options to build different semi-elaborate coils on there. You are not going to be able to build crazy huge builds in here, even with the 2-post deck, because those post holes are bigger than the postless deck, but not by a lot. So, price point. You can get a 1-to-1 like mine, if you can track it down, for around 11 bucks. However, an authentic one, and I spent a pretty decent amount of time trying to find one, an authentic one is like non-existent. So if you see one, I don't know how much it is, but I would recommend picking it up because it's super rare. If you see a 1-to-1 version of it, I would also recommend picking it up because it's super rare and it's really cool looking, and the 2-post deck is really great. If you put the O-ring on the 2-post option, you can screw down your juice well nice and tight, you won't have any leaking issues, and it would be a great 2-post RDA. So yes, I would recommend you pick it up, but not for the reason of you changing out decks and it being like this fantastic revolutionary experience. I'd recommend you go pick it up because the 2-post setup is pretty good. It's a fantastic cloud chasing RDA. It's super rare, looks really cool, like you're not going to go into a vape shop and see someone else who has one of these. And yeah, overall it's a really great RDA, just not used in the application that it's kind of advertised to. So yeah, I think that about wraps things up here for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Ooh. And let me know what you think about the Max Vapor RDA in the comments below. Do you own one? Do you know where I could track down an authentic one? If I find out details about an authentic one, I'll put it down in the description. But yeah, I think that about wraps things up. I will see you guys on Friday for a video on my favorite series build, which is in here, and it hits. It's like a freight train crashing into a basket of rocks that crashes into an astronaut. I don't know. Yeah, alright, so be good to each other out there, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye, everybody.